Yellowstone National Park is one of the most visited places in America. But despite its popularity with tourists, it's also one of the wildest places on Earth. And there are some very good reasons for that. Hi, I'm your host and this is our channel. From 1872 to today, Yellowstone has remained largely untouched by human development. This massive protected area spans more than 2.2 million acres across 3 states. For perspective, Yellowstone is bigger than the entire country of Belgium. It's home to half of the world's active geysers, hundreds of miles of rivers and streams, and is one of the last refuges for the endangered grizzly bear. In addition to being America's first national park, it's also home to an abundance of wildlife and some of the most extreme landscapes on Earth. In fact, Yellowstone is such a wild place that it sometimes seems almost alien-like. You can find huge herds of bison roaming freely across the plains, wolves howling at each other from atop the mountains, and even watch a volcano erupt right before your eyes. It might seem impossible, but all of these things have actually happened within Yellowstone's borders over the past century or so. So why does such a popular tourist destination also harbor so much wilderness? Well, it comes down to a delicate balancing act between conservation and tourism. Yellowstone National Park is one of the most popular parks in the United States with around 4 million visitors every year. The park is open year-round and offers a variety of activities for tourists, including hiking, camping, fishing, and wildlife viewing. All of these activities help to contribute to the local economy by bringing in millions of dollars each year. But the park is also home to a variety of dangerous animals, including bison, bears, and wolves. Each year, several people are injured or killed by these animals. And because Yellowstone is a protected area, officials can't simply relocate the animals or kill them to protect visitors. That means that the park has to strike a careful balance between keeping tourists safe while still allowing them to experience the natural beauty of the park. To do this, the National Park Service has implemented a number of safety measures. One of the most important things that visitors can do is to stay on marked trails and in developed areas. This helps to minimize the chances of encountering dangerous animals. Visitors are also asked to keep a safe distance from any animals they do see and never to feed the animals. Of course, these rules aren't always followed, and every year there are several incidents of tourists getting too close to dangerous animals or feeding them. But these incidents are relatively rare, and the vast majority of visitors do take the necessary precautions to stay safe. Another important thing that Yellowstone does to keep visitors safe is to provide a variety of educational opportunities. The park has a number of visitor centers and museums that teach visitors about the park's history, geology, and wildlife. Rangers also lead a variety of tour and talks throughout the year. This helps visitors to learn about the park and understand the importance of protecting its resources. Yellowstone also works hard to minimize the impact of its tourism industry. The park has a number of businesses that cater to tourists, including hotels, restaurants, and tour operators. However, the park works with these businesses to ensure that they operate in a sustainable way and don't contribute to overcrowding or environmental damage. In addition, the park has a number of volunteer programs that help to protect and preserve Yellowstone's natural resources. Volunteers help with a variety of tasks, including trail maintenance, visitor education, and wildlife monitoring. The park's efforts to minimize the impact of tourism have been successful. Yellowstone is one of the most popular parks in the United States, but it's also one of the least developed. This allows visitors to experience the park's natural beauty without feeling like they're in a crowded theme park. Despite the park's best efforts, it's inevitable that some people will be injured or killed by wildlife. Each year, a few unlucky visitors find themselves on the wrong side of a bison or a bear. But these incidents are relatively rare, and the vast majority of visitors leave Yellowstone unscathed. Now that we've talked about how Yellowstone manages its crowds, let's talk a little bit about what makes it such a wild place. Yellowstone is home to a variety of extreme environments, including geysers, hot springs, and canyons. These features make the park a popular destination for nature lovers and adventure seekers alike. One of the most famous features of Yellowstone is its geysers. Yellowstone is home to half of the world's active geysers, including the world's tallest active geyser, Steamboat Geyser. Yellowstone's geysers are a result of the park's unique geology. The geysers are formed when water from the nearby Yellowstone River seeps into the ground and is heated by magma from the Yellowstone caldera, also known as the Yellowstone supervolcano. The water then erupts from the ground in the form of steam and hot water. Yellowstone's geysers are not only unique, but also fragile. They're easily disturbed by human activity and can be damaged if not properly managed. That's why Yellowstone has put in place a number of restrictions around its geysers. Visitors are not allowed to walk on the geysers or throw objects into them. They're also asked to stay at least 25 yards away from the geysers at all times. These restrictions are in place to protect both the geysers and the visitors. In addition to its geysers, Yellowstone is also home to a number of hot springs. The most famous of these are the Grand Prismatic Spring and the Morning Glory Pool. Unlike geysers, hot springs are not created by eruptions. Instead, they're formed when groundwater flows into a pool or basin of hot water. The water in Yellowstone's hot springs is heated by the same magma that creates the geysers. The different colors of the hot springs are due to the presence of bacteria. Yellowstone's hot springs are also fragile and can be easily disturbed by human activity. Visitors are not allowed to wade or swim in the hot springs, and they're asked to stay at least 100 feet away from the edges. These restrictions are in place to prevent visitors from falling into the hot springs and to protect the delicate ecosystem of the springs. In addition to its geysers and hot springs, Yellowstone is also home to a number of canyons. The most famous of these is the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. The canyon was carved by the Yellowstone River over millions of years and is home to a variety of unique rock formations. The most famous of these is the Upper Falls, which is one of the tallest waterfalls in North America. Yellowstone's canyons are not only beautiful, but also fragile. The rocks are easily eroded by water and can be damaged if not properly managed. That's why Yellowstone has put in place a number of restrictions around its canyons. Visitors are not allowed to climb on the rocks or throw objects off of the cliffs. They're also asked to stay at least 25 feet away from the edge of the cliffs. These restrictions are in place to prevent visitors from falling and to protect the delicate ecosystem of the canyons. So those are just a few of the reasons why Yellowstone is such a wild place. Its extreme environments are what make it such a popular destination for nature lovers and adventure seekers alike. But it's also important to remember that these environments are fragile and need to be protected if we want to enjoy them for generations to come. Now let's finish up by talking about some of the most interesting animals that can be found in Yellowstone. As we mentioned earlier, Yellowstone is home to a variety of wildlife, including bison, bears, and wolves. These animals are a major draw for tourists who come to Yellowstone hoping to catch a glimpse of these magnificent creatures in their natural habitat. One of the most iconic animals that can be found in Yellowstone is the bison. Bison are large, powerful animals that can weigh up to 2,000 pounds. They're often seen grazing in the meadows or walking along the rivers. Bison are a major tourist attraction in Yellowstone, but they're also one of the most dangerous animals in the park. Every year, several people are injured or killed by bison. That's why it's important to remember that bison are wild animals and should be respected as such. Another iconic animal that can be found in Yellowstone is the grizzly bear. Grizzly bears are large, powerful animals that can weigh up to 800 pounds. They're often seen foraging for berries or fish in the rivers. Like bison, grizzly bears are a major tourist attraction in Yellowstone, but they're also one of the most dangerous animals in the park. Several people are injured or killed by grizzly bears each year. Again, it's important to remember that grizzly bears are wild animals and should be respected as such. Finally, let's talk about one of the most elusive animals that can be found in Yellowstone, the wolf. Wolves were once extinct in Yellowstone, but they were reintroduced in the park in the early 1990s. Wolves are now an important part of the Yellowstone ecosystem, and they're a major draw for tourists. Wolves are often seen roaming the forests or hunting bison. So those are just a few of the amazing animals that can be found in Yellowstone. If you visit the park, be sure to keep an eye out for these creatures as well as the other plants and animals that make Yellowstone such a unique place. As you can see, Yellowstone National Park is a truly wild place. From its extreme environments to its dangerous animals, Yellowstone is a place where nature is truly untamed. But it's also a place of great beauty and wonder. The best way to experience Yellowstone is to go there yourself. So, if you're ever in the area, be sure to visit this amazing park. Just be sure to follow the rules and respect the park's wildlife. After all, Yellowstone is a place where nature is truly in charge. We hope you enjoyed learning about Yellowstone National Park. If you did, please follow us for more fun geography facts. And as always, thanks for watching.